Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt that tiny voice inside your head whispering, why even bother starting? You're not ready. You're not good enough yet. Yeah, we've all heard it. But what if I told you that voice is wrong? Not just a little wrong, completely, utterly wrong. Because here's the truth, you don't have to be great to start. You just have to start. And today I'm going to show you why waiting for the right moment is the single biggest mistake you can make, and how taking that first messy, imperfect step can change everything. Picture this. You're standing at the edge of a massive cliff. On the other side, you can see the life you've always wanted. Wealth, freedom, a life of choices, not compromises. The only thing separating you from it is a leap. But instead of jumping, you're stuck, paralyzed by fear. What if I fall? What if I fail? Here's the kicker. Staying where you are isn't safe. It's a slow drift backward. The cliff you're standing on is eroding, and every moment you wait, you're losing ground. But let's flip the script for a second. Imagine you take that leap. The jump is terrifying, but guess what? You land, maybe not perfectly, maybe you stumble, scrape your knees, and look a little ridiculous. But you land. And now you're closer to that life you've been dreaming about. That's the power of starting. So what stops most people? Fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of failure. Fear of not being enough. It's funny, isn't it? We're more afraid of looking foolish than we are of staying stuck. But here's the thing, nobody is watching as closely as you think. Everyone's too busy worrying about their own lives. Think about the next time you're hesitating. Who's really judging you? Spoiler alert, it's just you. Now, let's get real for a second. Imagine you're scrolling through social media and you see someone who's already living your dream life. They've got the business, the house, the lifestyle. And what do you think? Must be nice, right? But what you don't see are the years they spent fumbling in the dark, figuring things out, failing over and over again. Because they started. And starting is messy. Starting is imperfect. But starting is what separates dreamers from doers. Let me take you back to a story about a friend of mine, let's call him Jake. Jake wanted to start an online business. For years, he consumed every podcast, every book, every course you could think of. He knew everything about business in theory, but he never took action. One day, someone less knowledgeable but more courageous started the same type of business Jake had been dreaming about. Guess what happened? That person succeeded. Not because they were better or smarter, but because they took the leap Jake was too afraid to take. So, what's the takeaway here? You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need the perfect plan or the best equipment or all the knowledge in the world. You just need to start. Action creates clarity. Every step you take, even the wrong ones, teaches you something valuable. Waiting, on the other hand, teaches you nothing. Let that sink in. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It's easy to say just start, but what about all the risks? What if I lose time, money, or even self-respect? Let me ask you this, what's the bigger risk? Trying and failing? Or never trying at all and living a life of regret? Regret is the heaviest burden to carry, my friend. And the only way to avoid it is to act, even if it's scary, even if it's uncomfortable. Let's pause here. Quick question, when was the last time you did something for the first time? Think about it. When was the last time you allowed yourself to be a beginner? Society teaches us to avoid failure, but the truth is, failing is just proof that you're trying. And trying is the only way to grow. So maybe it's time to get a little uncomfortable. After all, nothing grows in your comfort zone except excuses. You might feel like you're not ready. And guess what? You're not. Nobody ever is. Readiness is a myth, a convenient excuse to delay action. The only way to get ready is by doing. So stop waiting for the stars to align. Stop waiting for the perfect time, because it doesn't exist. The perfect time is the moment you decide to act, and that moment is now. Speaking of now, let's talk about urgency. Time is the one resource you can't get back. Every day you wait is a day you'll never see again. Imagine 5 years from now, looking back and wishing you'd started today. Do you really want that? Or would you rather look back and think, thank goodness I started when I did? The choice is yours, and it's a choice you're making every single day, whether you realize it or not. Here's another way to look at it. Starting isn't just about you. It's about the people who could benefit from what you're too afraid to share. The skills, the ideas, the talents you're sitting on, they're not just yours, they're meant to be shared. What if the thing you've been hesitating to start is the very thing someone else needs? That's not just procrastination. That's selfishness. Let me lighten the mood a bit. Picture this. You're at the gym for the first time in years. You're struggling on the treadmill while the person next to you is running like they're training for the Olympics. Embarrassing, right? But here's the twist. That person isn't laughing at you. They're cheering you on in their head because they remember their first day too. Everyone starts somewhere and nobody's first step looks graceful. But you've got to take it anyway. Okay, back to business. Let's talk about momentum. Starting is hard, but continuing is easier. Once you've taken that first step, the second one isn't as scary. And before you know it, you're running, not walking. Momentum turns effort into progress, and progress turns dreams into reality. But you'll never feel momentum if you don't take that first step. Now, imagine you've started, you've taken that leap and you're on your way. But then, something happens. You hit a roadblock, you fail, and it stings. Here's the part most people don't tell you: failure isn't the end. It's just a plot twist. Every successful person you admire has failed, probably more times than you can count. The difference is they didn't stop. They learned, they adjusted, and they kept going. Failure isn't a dead end. It's a detour. So, what happens if you don't start? What happens if you let fear win? The answer is simple. Nothing. And that's the scariest outcome of all. A year from now, you'll be in the same place, wondering why you didn't take action. Meanwhile, someone else will have started. Someone else will have learned, grown, and succeeded. Don't let that be your story. Write your own. Before we wrap this up, let's bring it full circle. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And yes, that step is scary. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but it's also the step that changes everything. So what are you waiting for? If you're ready to take control of your future, trust me, it's a game changer. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Welcome to Ego Motivation Hub, where we turn big dreams into bold actions. Your journey starts here.